So I'd have to say my favorite president was Kennedy.
Mr. Bill Clinton.
I would have to say Abraham Lincoln.
I would say the one that comes to mind is Ronald Reagan.
I thought Kennedy was easily one of the best spoken presidents out there. Very well educated, was able to basically speak his mind without trying to quote unquote dumb it down for the American public.
I can't think of the name. The Challenger, one of the spaceship that blew up. I think the speech that he gave about the astronauts now moving from Earth to touching God when the spaceship blew up, I think was a pretty meaningful speech.
A lot of people say that, he was a weak president or things like that, but he kept our nation together. And probably the one thing that I really admire about him is that during his presidency, his cabinet was handpicked by him. It was 99% people who disagreed with him. So he put people, he would get advice from people that was from a different perspective than his own. A lot of presidents put people in their cabinet that are going to be like in their in their right hand or in their pocket. And he said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get opinion from people who disagree with me.
Tough stand on various issues that came up at his time. Dislike, I think, just from reading magazines and newspapers, was my understanding was that he didn't have a hands-on approach in managing the administration. He delegated a lot of tasks to his people.
I thought in some situations the way he handled certain things like the October missile crisis, he dealt with that with a much more authority than Democrats are usually given respect for. So I thought he did well there.
Nothing comes to mind at this time, but I'm sure that if I were to read a little bit more, there would be something there. I think no president is perfect, and therefore there's always some weaknesses in the president's administration, which I would probably disagree.
Well, the negative side was the scandal that they had with him.
You mean the sex scandal?
Yeah.
Do you know that there's a lot of rumor that the Reagan administration prior to his election made an agreement with the people that were holding the hostages in Iran to hold on to them until after the election?
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised that a lot of that stuff went on. I mean, I know that was one of the big headliners back then, and definitely I think Reagan was much better than Carter. But I'm sure there was a lot of stuff going on like that, and I'm sure in all these administrations there's always like all these backroom negotiation going on, and some of that stuff, that's how things get done, and some of that stuff is not good to the American people.